The galaxy refused to save their dying dragon until the human. Beginning. The Galactic Senate chamber shimmered with the glow of thousands of holographic representatives. They were gathered from across the milky expanse. Dozens of star nations, empires, and free worlds, all locked in bitter debate over the fate of a single being. Suspended in a stasis field at the center of the chamber was a dragon. Her scales, once brilliant silver, had dulled to the color of ash. Each breath rattled through her massive lungs like collapsing metal. She was the last of her kind, an ancient creature known as a stellar WIRM, born when galaxies were still colliding and stars were young. She had lived for tens of thousands of years, bridging civilizations, carrying treaties between worlds, and inspiring myths across cultures. And now she was dying. A viral rot had infected her bloodstream, breaking down even her nearly indestructible cells. The cure existed, but it required an immense outpouring of resources. The rare mineral iridium harvested from black hole accretion disks, molecular stabilizers from gas giants, and energy equal to the sun's output for a full hour. The request for aid had been presented before the Senate by the guardians of the WRMS, an order sworn to protect her lineage. But the galaxy refused. "We cannot spend trillions of credits to save one beast," barked a representative of the Carvon Syndicate, his four eyes narrowing with contempt. "Resources belong to the living, not to the dying." "She is a relic," agreed the insectoid envoy of Zorath Hive. "A powerful relic, yes, but a relic nonetheless. The Hive sees no profit in her survival." A few defenders spoke up. The Lemurian delegate, glowing like liquid starlight, reminded the Senate that the stellar WRMS had once pulled entire fleets to safety by towing damaged vessels with their own strength. The Selenari ambassador wept openly, recounting legends of children saved from planetary collapse by the dragon's wings. But it wasn't enough. The majority voted to withhold resources. They would let the dragon die. And then a human stood. Dr. Elias Carroll was not a politician, not a senator, not even a decorated commander. He was a scientist, a xenobiologist stationed on a remote research outpost near the Perseus Arm. He had come not as a representative, but as a desperate voice called by the Guardians. "I know what you all think," Elias said, his voice echoing across the chamber, "that this is a waste, that no life, no matter how grand, is worth such a price. But I tell you this, the stellar WRM is not just another creature. She is a living memory of this galaxy. She has saved billions before you ever drew breath. And now, when she needs you, you would turn your back." Laughter rippled through the chamber. "Human sentimentality," muttered the Carvon delegate. But Elias did not falter. "If the galaxy will not save her," he said, staring up at the flickering, dying dragon, "then I will." Middle. Elias left the Senate empty-handed, but not hopeless. The Guardians granted him access to the dragon's stasis chamber. Standing before her, he felt dwarfed by her immensity, wings folded like ruined sails, talons dull, eyes closed as if in eternal sleep. He placed his hand against the shimmering barrier. "She saved my colony," he whispered. "When I was a child, our transport ship was struck by meteors. We should have burned the atmosphere of Erythros 4. But she came. Your wings shielded us from fire. My mother told me never to forget." The dragon stirred faintly at his voice, her eyelids flickering. A low, painful rumble shook the chamber. Elias felt her mind brush his own, weak, frayed, but present. "Little one, you remember?" He swallowed hard. "I do, and I won't let you die." Elias began his impossible quest. The cure required 3 impossible things. Iridium crystals, found only near black holes. Mining them was suicide, as gravity shredded most vessels before they could extract a single shard. A stabilizing catalyst, a living enzyme found only in the heart sacs of the gas giant leviathans of Xiphon. 12. Creatures so massive they swallowed ships whole. A star's worth of energy. 1 hour of raw solar power, focused and unbroken. Every world in the Senate had declared this too costly. But Elias had no Senate to answer to. He stole a research vessel. His first journey took him to the Malwar Danis, a black hole ring with derelict ships. Iridium pulsed there like frozen lightning, shimmering in the void. Elias piloted the ship closer, the hull groaning under gravitational strain. His hands trembled as he deployed drones. One after another, they crumpled like paper. Finally, only one drone remained. He guided it manually, sweat beating on his forehead as gravitational tides screamed through the ship's hull. The drone clamped a fragment of crystal, and in that instant, alarms blared. The gravity well dragged the drone, then the ship toward annihilation. Elias gritted his teeth. Not yet. He reversed thrusters at maximum, every bone in his body vibrating as the ship strained against the pull. The drone ejected with his prize, and with one desperate burr of the engines, Elias flung himself free from the black hole's grip. He had the first piece. Xiphon, 12 was worse. The Leviathans floated in the swirling gas, their bodies kilometers long, their tendrils sparking with bioelectric storms. No one hunted them. Not because they couldn't, but because most who tried were never seen again. Elias outfitted his ship with stealth fields and chemical lures. He dived into storms, navigating lightning that could vaporize a battleship. The Leviathan stirred, massive eyes glowing through clouds of methane. He needed one alive and close. When the creature struck, its tendril slammed into the ship like a titan's fist. Hull integrity dropped. Systems sparked. Elias donned a pressure suit and braved the external hatch. With a harpoon injector, he fired into the beast's hide. The enzyme flowed like molten sapphire through the tubing, filling the containment unit. The Leviathan roared, thrashing, nearly ripping the ship apart. Elias disengaged, engine screaming as he fled the storm. Behind him, the creature writhed, wounded but alive. He whispered an apology as he escaped with the second piece. The final task broke him. No machine could hold a star's worth of energy without melting. But as he searched archives, he remembered something. The dragon herself was born of starlight. Her body could withstand it. If she could be awakened long enough, she might channel the power through her own form. But to awaken her, Elias would have to risk everything. He returned to her chamber. With trembling hands, he mixed the iridian crystal and Leviathan enzyme into a suspension. He bypassed the Senate's lockdown codes and entered the stasis field. The dragon's breath came in shallow, rattling bursts. "I've brought what you need," he whispered. Her golden eye cracked open, weak but luminous. "Human, foolish human," her voice echoed in his mind. "You cannot bear the cost." "Then let me carry it," Elias said. He injected the cure. The dragon's body convulsed, scales flaring with sudden light. Energy rippled across the chamber as her cells began to regenerate, repairing themselves with the new materials. But she was still too weak. She needed the final piece, the sun's power. Together, they flew, ending. Elias piloted the ship toward Solara 9, a young star blazing white-hot. The dragon clung weakly to the hull, her wings unfurling like broken sails. "Bring me close," she whispered. Elias pushed the ship forward. Radiation pierced the shields, frying systems. Warning klaxons shrieked, but he did not turn back. When they reached the corona, the dragon leapt, her body ignited with blinding brilliance, scales drinking in the raw fire of the star. Her wings stretched wide, casting shadows over the ship. Elias shielded his eyes as she roared, not in pain, but in rebirth. The star's energy flowed through her, stabilized by the enzyme, channeled by the iridian. Her body healed, fracture sealing, sickness burning away. She was whole again, and then she turned her gaze on him. "You risked everything, little one. Why? When your kind gains nothing." Elias smiled faintly, exhausted. "Because when I was a boy, you saved me. Now it was my turn." Silence fell between them, broken only by the hum of the star. Finally, she lowered her massive head until her snout brushed the ship like a gesture of kinship. "Then you are my kin now, my rider, my friend." Together, they left the star's blaze, returning to the galaxy that had abandoned her. When they entered the Senate chamber once more, the entire assembly fell silent. The dragon strode in, scales shimmering like molten silver, eyes burning with eternal fire. Elias stood at her side. "You refuse to save her," he said softly, "but she will save you again when the time comes. Because that is who she is." No one dared laugh this time. And from that day forward, the last stellar WRM flew once more across the stars. Not as a relic, but as a guardian. And always at her side, the human who refused to let her die.